Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Doctor's Notes podcast by Doc's Castle Media, a podcast I created to share the notes of one of my favorite reality shows ever, Big Brother USA. I'm your host, Doc, and I'm here to talk BP perspective from Doc's point of view. So here we go. Woo, 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 yay! We are on episode 5 of the Doctor's Notes podcast. I'm so happy. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm happy that I continue to do this, that I'm now at episode 5, and honestly that I didn't realize how many episodes this will be because I am actually doing this after every Big Brother episode. Goodness, so there is going to be a lot of podcasts I've seen from my show now, but I'm so proud. My goal this month was to get at least 5 episodes, and I've already done that within 1 week of recording podcasts for this Big Brother season. That is so great. I'm so proud of myself. Thank you for listening, everyone. In today's podcast, I want to talk about the first live eviction episode that happened last night. Yay! It's the first live eviction. Usually, the first live eviction lately, honestly, has been very, very intriguing these last couple of years because we've had people leave that seem to self-evict in their own, unique ways in the last couple of years. But yeah, in the last episode or last podcast, I mentioned that we had someone who self-evicted this week, and would it affect the live eviction episode that happened last night? It actually didn't this year. I said I wasn't going to look at the live feeds, or I was going to try to stay off of Twitter and stuff, but it's really hard. It's hard to stay off of Twitter because I'm usually on Twitter promoting my stuff on my blog anyway. But to be on Twitter and then you start seeing Big Brother tweets from people, BB25 tweets all the time, and you start learning about all of the spoilers, and you start to see all the live feeders sharing all of the spoilers and their opinions about what's going on. So I kind of know what's kind of happening already prior to the HOH episode that's going to come on Sunday, but that's all right. We're going to try to focus on just what we saw last night, but there are a few things and opinions that I was seeing about Luke that, sometimes people let off and show you that there are certain alliances and certain things going on in the house, or different perspectives that a lot of people don't agree with that are happening in the house. So, yeah, that's the thing about being on Twitter. And I wanted to let everyone know now that I have ventured off to read tweets. So some of my opinion might be swayed, but I continue to use the CBS episodes as my main source of what I'm watching. I think I will start watching the live feeds, but when I'm doing a recap or doing my podcast, I want to try to focus on what's happening on the show, because sometimes when you watch the live feeds, you get a completely different show than what you're watching and what CBS is giving you for Big Brother. So who's on the block right now? We left yesterday's episode with knowing that Kirsten and Felicia was still on the block. So they're still on the block, and there was still a live eviction that happened. But people on Twitter are trying to compare last year's live eviction episode to Taylor Hale. Taylor Hale live eviction episode, she was on the block the first week, and I forget what the girl named that basically didn't like Taylor, and she self-evicted herself. So when she self-evicted herself, I guess people thought that the situation this season would be the same because Luke evicted himself, that we were going to see Kirsten be able to stay in this week. And they're basically comparing her to Taylor off of that simple fact that would happen to Taylor last season. And I don't know what Twitter is thinking, or how they think that they're going to give a grace to someone just because of what's going on, self-eviction and stuff. Honestly, we could have kept the eviction going on last year for Taylor. Last year she could have been gone. But this year, I don't know. I feel like they could have, just let the show go on. Let life happens, and this is the real world. We can't make exceptions all the time. So I guess Kirsten has to go. But I don't understand how people could even try to say, because of what happened the last season, that they want to go do the same thing for this season. No, we got other protocols. CBS should have better protocols, and I'm sure they had better protocols. We followed the code of conduct here. Luke was evicted from the house because of him saying a racial slur. And they actually showed us in this episode the clip of him saying it. And I guess CBS felt forced to show this information because of Twitter, because of what people in the uproar that's happening on Twitter about what they saw on the live feeds. CBS has to address it, but the way that they address it depends upon, I guess, how people are reacting in the house. From the clip that they showed us on the episode last night, it looked like there was only 3 people in the house that actually, other than Luke, that knew what was said, knew the derogatory term that was said and knew how it was said. And I guess people on Twitter are expecting a reaction from certain people to react because they're watching this. We were in the room. If people on Twitter were in the room with Luke, I think that everyone would feel the same way. They will feel uncomfortable because everybody in that room felt uncomfortable, and everyone acts differently under being uncomfortable. Live feeders and people on Twitter were watching to see people's reaction in that room because they feel as though if they were in that situation, they would react a certain type of way. I see a bunch of people looking toward Jared for a reaction too, trying to see where he stands and what happened, being the derogatory term being used. But I think what people need to realize is Black people are not a spectacle, and their views aren't what we go off of. It's what you think that person's opinion is. It's not the opinion of every Black person in America or the world, period. What someone goes through, our Black experiences are different. So the way that Jared might react to a certain situation could be different from another Black person's situation. But my problem is that people on Twitter are making Jared a spectacle by trying to figure out how he would react. And I can see why he reacted the way he did on what CBS showed us, them having a whole group discussion and him deciding to not really discuss the situation in a group setting with everyone. They didn't show us if the conversation was continued. Live feeders say that Jared walked away and out of the room, and the Black women that were in the room continued to have a conversation about what was done or what happened to Luke. But CBS didn't show that, and people on Twitter are getting upset over the fact that CBS didn't show that. But honestly, I think what CBS is doing, they're going off of what Jared is doing. Jared his reaction was to laugh it off. Jared didn't bring that much attention. He's not bringing that much attention to the situation. So I feel like what CBS is going to do is they're not trying to bring too much attention to the situation, being that Jared is the Black male in the house. So I think that's why they're respecting it that way. He's not the only Black male that is a participant in this season of the show, as far as watching, being a part of it or whatever. So CBS isn't considering their whole Black audience when they're doing that, but it doesn't matter because the audience isn't on the show. Jared's on the show, and I feel as though Jared handled it the way that he wanted to handle it. He explained it that he had friends that were like that, and he knows that this is why he's not reacting a certain way, because he's considering how he dealt with situations like this in the past from previously having friends like that, like Luke. And as a black man understanding those consequences, he doesn't confuse ignorance or malice. So in this case, I think he's looking at Luke as very ignorant. There isn't no evil intent behind what he done. But he only wishes the best for him. And that's all you really can do. And that's all we all can do at this moment. CBS has moved on. He's been kicked off the show. And now we need to move on and wishing his wells that he learned from the situation, that he won't do anything like that again, and that he pays attention to how he talks, because it just slipped. It slipped out. Like, I don't think it was meant to be a certain way, but it slipped out. Now, Corey wanting to come and address the situation in front of the group, that's how Corey felt. He felt uncomfortable. But Corey is a white man. And I think that's probably what Jared was trying to say. He's a white man trying to address the situation that should have made the black man feel very much uncomfortable. So, and then when Corey tried to address it, he addressed it wrong. We didn't see the clip. That's not even what he said. Heisem, he didn't even said that he said he didn't even hear that. Honestly, we all saw Heisem's reaction and how he left out the room with Corey that quick. So we know that he heard it. But the thing is, literally, Heisem did not hear what Corey said. We didn't even hear what Corey is insinuating that Luke said. So, to say that, I don't know, like what Twitter is saying is, it's just not addressed right. CBS did not address the situation, but everybody is going off of how they feel and how they feel that this should be addressed. And I think it was addressed the proper way. Luke is gone. End of story. Luke's gameplay didn't even affect the game at all. What little gameplay that we saw them show in the episode was him talking to Kirsten, and it seems like he was just trying to be, empathize with Kirsten and her being on the block. She's lonely and she doesn't have anyone to talk to, and that's what we saw. That game, what happened with his derogatory term did not affect the game at all. It didn't affect the game. So let's move on from this. There are now a few people in the house, fewer people. 2 people are gone because there's been a eviction that continued on. So let's move on. Anyway, I want to discuss who the MVP player of this episode I think is. This episode, I think the MVP player is Heisem. Heisem is the MVP player. He won the veto competition in the last episode. But this episode, I make him the MVP player because he is pushing for an alliance that I like this season. Right now, there is a new alliance. So let's talk about alliances. There is a new alliance. It seems like every episode there's a new alliance, but there's a new alliance called the Professors. And the Professors, I like this alliance because it's a alliance of undertakers we've never seen before. Alliance of older people coming together to unite to try to make it into the end. And it's a group of 7 individuals. So the people that are in the Professors group is Heisem, who brought the idea to everyone. Sari, Felicia, Bowie, Izzy, Red, and Nicole. These are the people that's on the Professors Alliance, and they're supposed to be taking out the younger people in the game. When brought into the alliance, because Red and Nicole was brought into the alliance a little later. The initial people that were brought in the alliance that Heisem brought the attention to was originally Sari, Felicia, Bowie, and Izzy. Basically, it was brought to Red, and Red gave the opinion that he wanted to be a part of that alliance because it was a stable and steady group of people, older individuals that seem to stick with their decisions. They're not radical, so I feel as though I agree with what Red said, and I feel as though that this might be a stable group of people that might stick together. But the thing is, that doesn't mean anything based off of the personalities of everyone. If someone's a backstabber in the professor's group, they're gonna backstab. Like that's not gonna change the fact that someone is who they are. So I agree that it seems from the outside this might be a more stable group that might stick together, but there are still backstabbers and people that's gonna go to other people and make alliances later on in the game. But so far, I like this alliance. I like the fact that we have an older group of people that want to take it to the end. This is the first time in a very long time since we've had older people in the house, like more than just there being just one older person in the game. I think I was recently looking on Twitter, and I think Andy, Big Brother winner of season 16, recently said that the last time that he really saw that there was a older group, I don't know if this was Andy or Janelle, because I will follow them on Twitter, but that's the first time that an older group, it's been this many older people in the game since season 10. Now, I don't even remember season 10. I haven't really watched season 10 that much. And that season was with Dan. Dan won that season. And I don't know how many older people was in that season. Like I said, it might have been a boring season to me because I was young then. So, but since then, there hasn't been that many older people in the game. And I think that's good. Like, CBS is really focusing on minority groups or just being more diverse. So when you see a more diverse house, we get to see different gameplays like this. Like, we're starting to see more minority groups taking over newer seasons of Big Brother, thanks to the casting crews actually paying attention to their diversity and inclusion training. That's very good. And we get we get good content from that. That's great. Got so excited, I got tongue-tied. Whoa. We get good content from that. So that's good. We finally get to see America have a diary room this episode. The thing about these episodes, there's so many people in the game, we don't get to see everybody, but we finally get to see America talk some gameplay, or where she is in the house. We know that she's on the young people's side. She's working in Riley's alliance, and we finally see her gameplay that she know what's kind of going on. She's realizing that there is a split developing in the house, and she shared that in her diary room session. She knows that there's another side, and she thinks it's a benefit now to try to bring Kirsten onto their side of the house because of numbers. It's a numbers game at this point. So we finally see her diary room. That's good to know. And I think we finally see that she actually is a part of an alliance. Like, I don't think they've name dropped America in any alliance. I could be like glossing over that, but finally I actually know that America is a part of something from this episode. On the other hand, I've known Izzy to be a part of an alliance since the first episode, when she made her allegiance with Jared and Sari. But I think that Izzy is playing a shaky game right now. She's making questionable moves that's causing red flags with members of her own alliance right now. And I think that's messing her up. We saw that she confronted, that's what it looked like, a confrontation. She confronted Riley about just I don't know about what. She's not even on the block. I don't even know what it was even for. Why Izzy did this. This is why I said it was a confrontation. But she went to Riley as the HOH to try to get a feel for where she is in the game, and then ultimately tells her that she's she's on the other side of the house. Like, it's just been a few days. You blatantly told her, and you want to cut all the BS. Basically, that's how she came in the conversation. You wanted to cut all the BS and bring up the fact that she's on a different side of the house. She's glad that Riley's working with a group, but she's on the other side of the house. What is your purpose? Why did you do that? Why did you feel that you had to do that? And you came directly to the HOH doing it. Like, I don't know. Some people play games weird, and Izzy made a questionable move when she did that. She's feeling herself at the moment. And then on top of it, she goes back to her alliance member, Sari, to tell her that she did it. And I can understand why Sari might feel uncomfortable, because in her diary room section, she talks about how she feels as though she needs to tell Izzy to calm down sometimes because she does the most. So that's basically what's happening. Izzy is doing the most. She's causing red flags within her alliance, which could possibly break up the daggone professor's alliance already when you got people like that just floating around and making crazy moves like that. Yeah, Izzy is questionable, but we also had someone else from their alliance go and speak to Riley too, Red. The thing is, Red, I don't know if Red went back to anyone to let anyone know that that's what he did, was actually name drop people in Riley's alliance to Riley. But the thing is, Red is still moving in a way that is respectable. And Red is moving in a way that is still in silence. Like, he still let Riley know that he knows, but he ain't going back to other people letting them know that he done told Riley that he know. You know, Izzy is still kind of, I don't know, I guess immature in that sense. That was a very immature move to do. And compared to Red kind of doing the same thing, but it's better. It's better. But what we find out is Riley, because I think Red dropped those names, I think Riley might feel a lot more paranoia coming from Red than from Izzy. She might feel paranoid from Izzy because it was a confrontational conversation that they had. But for Red, he name dropped people, so she feels as though he's letting on that people know more than what she thinks that they know. So she's scared. She's a little scared of him, but she doesn't know who to be scared of, honestly, because there are two people that come to her. She doesn't know who to be scared of. I think that them coming to Riley is going to cause her to be paranoid and make her kind of stay under the radar for the next couple of weeks. If she doesn't win the HOH, she's not going to try to ruffle any feathers with people, I think. But I also know that she is a target because she came so hard the first week. So she could be gunning for the next competition, and she might play a little bit harder. But I think Riley, she might want to calm down. If it was me, I probably would want to calm down a little bit. Find my group of people to calm down and not be in the forefront and be a target with, you know? But she's full of paranoia now. So ultimately, the decision to bring Kirsten into the Handful Alliance, or their 8-group alliance that they have, is not happening, because in the episode last night, Kirsten basically was evicted. She was evicted from a vote of 13-0, unanimous vote. No one gave her a sympathy vote at all. The first week, I wasn't really expecting anyone to give the first person evicted a sympathy vote. There's no sympathy towards the first person evicted. They completely isolate them, and that's what we saw. Kirsten being completely isolated. She really wasn't even hanging with people in this episode. So, yeah, it was a 13-0 vote. Kirsten, I don't believe, will have the opportunity to come back into the Big Brother house like in the past. I think Big Brother is probably stepping away, might be trying to secretly step away from that, from letting people have the opportunity to come back into the game. And I think that Kirsten might not be coming back in the game because they literally told her the Sari and Jared twist. So she doesn't even seem like she would have the opportunity because she knows that vital information. Why would they just throw someone that evicted out of the house back into the game to stir that pot and literally come up with that information and mess the game up? We only know that there is one person in the house right now that truly knows that Suri and Jared are related, and that is Izzy. So, I don't think Kirsten is coming back at all. But it was good. I guess she played hard. She played too hard at the beginning, and then when she was on the block, it wasn't enough. She said something. She spoke to people, but she wasn't speaking to people in the way that she should have been to save her life. Not enough deals were being made, and honestly, she was dealt with this situation that first week. There wasn't going to be many people that would want to make deals with her. She could have still went to America or Raleigh and tried to, be their extra number. They could have saved her because honestly, it's an 8-person alliance there. It only needed to be 7 votes to evict Kirsten, so she could have been saved, honestly, and Felicia could have left. But she didn't know that, and she didn't play her hand hard enough for that, and didn't know that she could probably go to America, or she could probably go to anyone in that alliance to try to join them, because they had that talk. They had the talk of possibly bringing her in, but that didn't happen. So bye, Kirsten. We'll see you on the last episode when we vote for the winner. That's usually how it goes. But overall, like I said, this episode was not boring. We got to see a lot of things. We saw the live eviction. I went over what I feel as though Heisem doing a great job in being the MVP player. And there's new alliances, of course, as there has been every episode this week so far. I wonder when it's going to completely slow down. But we have new alliances as well. And we saw some good gameplay and people come into the episode that we didn't see. And we saw some terrible gameplay that I feel Izzy is messing up. For real. I think she's messing up. And then we also saw why Luke was gone. So this episode was okay. And it was decent. It was good. I look forward to the next episode. The next episode will be the HOH competition. I kind of already know what's going on with that because I've been paying attention to Twitter, and Twitter has been snitching and giving me all the spoilers. But like I said, I want to continue to do my episodes based off of the actual CBS broadcast that comes on so that I won't be confused. I might mention a few things that I'm seeing on the internet, but I want to stick to that because it's giving me some type of structure. And I hope that this makes it better for the listener as well, because I don't want to give y'all spoilers like that. It takes away from the experience, honestly. And I don't even know I think CBS is honestly questioning keeping the live feeds. The way that people react to the live feeds on Twitter, it's ridiculous. Canada has already gotten rid of their live feeds. And I think it probably was for a similar reason. But the US, the people that go off, y'all gonna get the live feeds taken away from us. And we will be forced to watch this game. And then we'll have secrets. And then people won't trust Big Brother. So y'all need to chill out. Like, everybody needs to chill out. Chill out. But anyway, that was the episode. And I can't wait to the next one. Thank you so much for tuning into the Doctor's Notes podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if you found value in what you heard today, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. For more updates and Doc's Castle content, follow me on my social media. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Doc's Castle. If you have any questions, suggestions, or topics that you'd like to cover in future episodes, feel free to reach out to me via email at docscastlemediainfo@gmail.com. Remember, your support means the world to me, and I'm grateful to have you as a listener. But until next time, peace out.